and talk about what we saw last night with the Cairns Taipans. Perth winning was the big story, and they've locked away top two. We'll get to the Wildcats in a second. That was... It's hard to reconcile what we saw last night with the Cairns Taipans and Adam Ford and Tajir McCall playing 8 minutes. Now, there is no point downplaying this story. They are a story, the Cairns Taipans, and the relationship between Adam Ford and Tajir McCall. It is clear to everyone, including Stevie Wonder, that there is a problem between Adam Ford and Tajir McCall. Take us through what you saw last night and what your feelings are on it the next day.
Yeah, well, I'll go back to 10 days or so when I was up courtside for the Cairns Taipans versus the Tasmania Jack Jumpers, and that was the first game where Tajir McCall came off the bench. And we kind of mentioned it early in the broadcast, and I asked around to see if Tajir was hurt. They said no, everything is fine. Yeah. That was my first indication that everything was not fine. Because whenever they say everything's fine and a guy isn't hurt, there are other problems at play. Now, as we watched him in that game, his body language didn't look right. It didn't look like he was playing with the energy, the vibrancy that we usually see from Tajir McCall. Well, let's fast forward to last night. The body language was really, really bad. And now there's little whispers coming out of possible incidents between McCall and Ford earlier last week. We don't know all the facts, but what has manifested is the floor has fallen out from the Cairns Taipans. They look really, really bad. They fell apart in that second half last night out in Perth. And the energy in that team, there's some players that are really contributing to it, and McCall doesn't look like he's into it. Pat Miller doesn't look like he's playing with the same push that he was. Bull Quall, there was some frustration there with him and the coaching staff. Kerry Williams kind of like, I've had enough, I've had enough.
Yeah, it was that one, wasn't it?
Yeah. So things don't look great. And it's crazy because only 2 weeks ago, they were still in the hunt for the playoffs. And ultimately, it comes down to institutional control. Who's in charge up there? Who's ensuring that everybody is walking the line and maintaining the team ethos, whatever that may be.
Happy to take Adam Ford at face value. Post-game said that they wanted to look at some of the youngsters and have a look at some guys who are going to be there next year. That's fine, but, I mean, 8 minutes is still 8 minutes. I don't remember seeing anything like what we saw last night. Across all sports, to be honest.
There was that passage of play with McCall where I believe he missed a few shots in a row. He was slow getting off the deck. They got punished on the other end by the Wildcats, and then he was brought out the game, and I don't think he returned to play after that play phase. Now, look, I get it about the future. Taron Armstrong is a talented local player who can be your point guard of the future, but giving him this much weight at this point of the season probably is masking some other issues, and I would love to know what's going on up there. I'll be up there for their final home game of the season against Melbourne United. It'll be very interesting. Hopefully, they've resolved some of the differences and everybody will kind of be back to status quo, but let's see how it plays out.